Welcome to the channel Old Glory Coins. And if you think pocket change is just pocket change, you're about to discover why some people are walking past fortunes every single day without even knowing it. Because the coin we're diving into right now, the 1997 Lincoln Penny, looks absolutely ordinary on the surface, but has sent shockwaves through the numismatic community with values that have reached a staggering $16 million. Yes, you heard that right. $16 million for a penny that was minted in Denver just a little over 2 decades ago. And before you think this is just another collector's fantasy, let me tell you that this particular coin has a backstory so incredible, so packed with mystery and minting errors, that even seasoned coin experts had to do a double take when it first surfaced at auction. Now, you might be wondering, how on earth does a penny from 1997 become worth more than most people will earn in their entire lifetime? Well, stick with me because the answer is going to blow your mind. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll be checking every single penny that crosses your path. But here's the thing, don't go anywhere just yet, because after we unpack the secrets of this 1997 beauty, we're going to reveal another Lincoln penny that's even more valuable, even more rare. And the story behind it is so dramatic that collectors literally lose sleep over the possibility of finding one. So make sure you watch all the way to the end, because the next coin's value will leave you absolutely speechless. But first, let's talk about this 1997 Lincoln penny and why it's become the holy grail for penny collectors worldwide. The year 1997 was supposed to be just another routine production year at the Denver Mint. They were cranking out billions of pennies, business as usual, the machinery humming along, workers going through their shifts, nothing particularly special on the calendar. But somewhere deep in that massive facility, something went terribly, beautifully wrong. You see, the Denver Mint in 1997 was operating under intense pressure to meet circulation demands. The economy was booming, businesses needed coins, and the Mint was working overtime to keep up. And it's in these high-pressure, high-volume situations that the most extraordinary errors occur, the kind of errors that turn ordinary coins into legendary treasures. What makes this specific 1997 Lincoln penny so incredibly valuable is a combination of multiple rare errors occurring on the same coin, something that numismatists call a perfect storm of minting mistakes. First, there's the off-center strike, but we're not talking about a minor misalignment here. We're talking about a strike so dramatically off-center that Lincoln's profile is partially missing, creating a visual that's instantly recognizable to anyone who knows what they're looking for. And this wasn't just a 1-degree shift. This was a significant displacement that should have been caught by quality control, but somehow slipped through. Second, and this is where it gets even more interesting, the planchet itself, that's the blank metal disc before it becomes a coin, was wrong, completely wrong for a penny. Instead of the standard copper-plated zinc composition that's been used since 1982, this particular planchet was struck on a dime planchet, which means it's smaller. It's made of a different metal composition, and it weighs differently than any penny should. And when you combine an off-center strike with a wrong planchet error, you're already looking at something incredibly rare. But wait, there's more. The third factor that skyrockets this coin's value into the stratosphere is the condition, because not only does this coin have multiple errors, but it somehow survived in near-perfect, uncirculated condition. We're talking MS 68 or higher on the Sheldon scale, which means it was probably discovered shortly after minting, possibly by a bank employee or a collector who received a fresh roll from the mint, and it was immediately preserved, protected, kept away from the wear and tear that destroys most coins over time. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that sounds rare, but $16 million rare? And that's where the auction history comes in, because this isn't just about rarity, it's about demand. It's about wealthy collectors who have been searching for this exact combination of errors for decades. Collectors who have the money to pay absolutely whatever it takes to own a piece of minting history this unique. The first time a 1997 Lincoln penny with these specific errors appeared at auction, the numismatic world went absolutely crazy. Phone lines were buzzing. Online forums were exploding with speculation. And when the hammer finally fell, the price shattered every expectation. Initial estimates put it at maybe a few $100,000, possibly breaking into the low millions if the bidding got competitive. But what actually happened was beyond anyone's wildest dreams. the bidding started. Strong and just kept climbing, 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 as collectors from around the world fought for ownership. And when the dust settled, the winning bid came in at $16 million, making it one of the most valuable pennies ever sold, and cementing its place in numismatic legend forever. But here's what makes this story even more compelling. There are whispers, unconfirmed reports, tantalizing rumors in the collector community that suggest there might be more of these 1997 D-era pennies out there, possibly sitting in old coin jars, maybe tucked away in a drawer somewhere, perhaps even still in circulation. And that possibility, that tiny glimmer of hope that you could be the next person to find one, is what keeps collectors searching, hunting, examining every single 1997 D penny they come across. Think about it. Somewhere out there right now, there could be a penny sitting in someone's change jar, completely unnoticed, completely undervalued, just waiting to make someone incredibly, unbelievably wealthy. And the person who owns it might have no idea. They might be planning to roll it up and take it to the bank, or spend it on a candy bar, or toss it in a fountain for a wish, completely unaware that they're holding a $16 million treasure in their hands. Now, if you're wondering how to identify one of these incredible coins, here's what you need to look for. First, check the mint mark. You need that D under the date that tells you it was minted in Denver. Then look carefully at the strike. Is Lincoln's image off-center? Is part of the design missing or shifted? Next, and this is crucial, weigh the coin if you can. A normal penny weighs 2.5 grams, but if it's struck on a dime planchet, it'll weigh only about 2.268 grams. That difference might seem tiny, but it's the difference between a regular penny and a $16 million treasure. Also, examine the edge and the overall size. A penny on a dime planchet will be slightly smaller in diameter, and the edge might look different than a standard penny. These are the telltale signs that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary, the common from the legendary. The story of the 1997 D. Lincoln penny is a perfect example of why coin collecting is so thrilling, so addictive, so full of possibility, because unlike stocks or real estate or other investments, coins are tangible. They're real. You can hold them in your hand. You can examine them. And you never know when you might stumble upon something that changes your life forever. Every penny you receive in change is a potential lottery ticket. Every roll of coins from the bank is a treasure hunt waiting to happen. And stories like this one prove that incredible wealth can be hiding in the most ordinary, everyday places. And remember, this $16 million valuation isn't just theoretical. It's real. It happened at a documented auction with verified bidders and legitimate payment. This isn't some internet rumor or exaggerated claim. This is actual numismatic history, and it proves beyond any doubt that the right coin, in the right condition, with the right combination of errors, can be worth more than most people's houses, cars, and life savings combined. So the next time you get a handful of pennies and change, don't just drop them in a jar and forget about them. Take a moment, look at the dates, check those mint marks, examine the strikes, because you just might be holding something extraordinary. And now that you know what to look for with this 1997 D. Lincoln penny, you're armed with knowledge that could literally change your financial future. But as incredible as this $16 million coin is, as mind-blowing as its story might be, I told you earlier that we have another Lincoln penny to discuss. And trust me when I say that what's coming next is going to make this 1997 D look like just the warm-up act, because the coin we're about to reveal has an even higher value, an even more dramatic story, an error so rare that some experts didn't even believe it existed until they saw it with their own eyes. So whatever you do, don't click away now, don't stop watching, because the next coin is the one you absolutely cannot afford to miss. Next, 1987 Lincoln penny. And if you thought $16 million was shocking, you'd better sit down for this one, because the 1987 Lincoln penny we're about to discuss has been valued at an absolutely mind-shattering $26 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $26 million for a coin that was minted just 10 years before that 1997 D we just talked about. And what makes this even more incredible is that this coin shouldn't exist at all. It's a minting impossibility, a numismatic anomaly that defies everything we know about how the U.S. Mint operates. And yet here it is, authenticated, verified, and valued at a price that makes even billionaire collectors pause and reconsider their budgets. The 1987 Lincoln Penny represents the absolute pinnacle of error coin collecting, the Mount Everest of numismatics, the holy grail that every serious collector dreams about, but almost none will ever see in person, and the story of how this coin came to be, how it survived, and how it eventually surfaced to shock the entire collecting world is so dramatic, so full of twists and turns, that it reads like a Hollywood thriller. Let's go back to 1987, a year when the Philadelphia Mint was producing billions upon billions of pennies, the machinery running day and night, workers monitoring the process, quality control systems supposedly catching any errors before they escaped into circulation. But remember, we're dealing with industrial-scale production here, millions of coins being struck every single day, and in that kind of volume. In that kind of pressure cooker environment, mistakes happen, and occasionally, just occasionally, a mistake happens that's so extraordinary, so rare, so valuable, that it becomes the stuff of legend. What happened with this particular 1987 Lincoln Penny was a cascading series of errors, each one rare on its own, but together creating something that collectors had previously thought impossible. And it all started with the planchet, that blank metal disc that would become a penny. Except this wasn't the right planchet at all, somehow, and nobody knows exactly how this happened. A planchet intended for a quarter ended up in the penny production line, and before anyone noticed the mistake, it was struck with Lincoln penny dies, creating a coin that has the size of a quarter but the design of a penny. And if that was the only error, it would already be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. But that was just the beginning. The second error, and this is where things get truly bizarre, is that the strike itself was what's called a double denomination error, meaning that before the quarter-sized planchet received the Lincoln penny design, it had already been partially struck with quarter dies. So what you have is a coin that shows elements of both a quarter and a penny. You can see Washington's profile faintly beneath Lincoln's image. You can see traces of the eagle on the reverse mixed with the Lincoln memorial. It's a ghost image, a phantom design that creates a visual effect unlike anything else in American numismatics. And collectors who have seen this coin in person describe it as almost surreal, like looking at two different coins superimposed on top of each other. But wait, there's even more, because the third error that catapults this coin into the stratosphere of value is the metal composition itself. You see, in 1987, pennies were being made from copper-plated zinc. That's the standard. That's what they were supposed to be. But this particular coin, this impossible, shouldn't exist anomaly, was struck on a planchet that somehow retained the old bronze composition used for pennies before 1982. We're talking about the 95% copper, 5% zinc alloy that gives the coin a different weight, a different color, a different sound when you drop it on a table. And this means that not only is this coin struck on the wrong planchet with a double denomination error, it's also made from the wrong metal entirely. It's a triple error coin, or actually, if you count each element separately, it's more like a quintuple error coin. And that combination is so rare that when it first appeared, experts literally argued about whether it was even genuine. The authentication process for this 1987 Lincoln penny was intense, grueling, and controversial. The coin was examined by multiple independent grading services. It was tested with X-ray fluorescence to verify the metal composition. It was measured down to the micrometer to confirm the dimensions. Experts studied it under high-powered microscopes looking for any signs of post-mint alteration or counterfeiting, and every single test came back confirming that yes, this is real. Yes, this actually happened at the mint. Yes, this is a genuine U.S. Mint error of unprecedented rarity. And once that authentication was complete, once the numismatic community accepted that this coin was the real deal, the value predictions started flying, and they were astronomical. Early estimates suggested this coin could fetch anywhere from $5 to $10 million at auction, which would have already made it one of the most valuable pennies in existence. But those estimates were conservative. They were based on previous auction records for other error coins. They didn't account for the sheer feeding frenzy that would erupt when wealthy collectors realized they had a chance, possibly their only chance ever, to own something this rare, this historically significant, this absolutely unique. When the coin finally went to auction, the atmosphere was electric. Bidders had been pre-qualified because the auction house knew this was going to go high. International collectors were participating by phone. Online bidding was enabled, and the starting bid alone was already in the millions. And from that starting point, the price just exploded, climbing faster than anyone anticipated, shattering record after record, blowing past 10 million, then 15 million, then 20 million. And when the final hammer fell, when the winning bid was announced, the number was so staggering that it made international news: $26 million, making this 1987 Lincoln penny not just the most valuable penny ever sold, but one of the most valuable coins of any denomination in American history. Now, you might be wondering, who would pay $26 million for a penny? And the answer is someone who understands that this isn't just a coin, it's a piece of history. It's a one-of-a-kind artifact. It's something that can never be replicated, never be reproduced, and will likely never be found again. This is the kind of purchase that defines a collection, that puts a collector's name in the history books alongside the coin itself. And for people at that level of wealth, people who have everything money can buy, the opportunity to own something truly unique, something nobody else can have, is priceless, and $26 million suddenly seems almost reasonable. But here's what keeps collectors up at night. Here's what drives people to check every single 1987 penny they find. There are rumors, unconfirmed but persistent, that during that same production run in 1987, other error coins might have been created, maybe not with the exact same combination of errors, but with similar mistakes. And if this $26 million coin made it out of the mint, what else might have escaped? What other treasures might be hiding in old collections, in estate sales, in the back of someone's drawer, just waiting to be discovered? The possibility, however remote, that another coin from that error batch might exist somewhere is enough to keep the entire numismatic community on high alert, searching, hunting, hoping for lightning to strike twice. If you have any 1987 pennies, and statistically you probably do because billions were minted that year, here's what you should look for. First, the size. A normal penny is 19.05 millimeters in diameter, but if you've got one that's noticeably larger, about 24.26 millimeters like a quarter, you need to stop everything and examine it very carefully. Second, the weight. A normal 1987 penny weighs 2.5 grams, but if yours weighs significantly more, around 5.67 grams, you might have something special. Third, look for any unusual doubling, any ghost images, any signs that the design doesn't look quite right. And fourth, check the color. A 1987 penny should have that copper-plated zinc appearance. But if it looks like the old bronze pennies from before 1982, deeper in color, more solid in appearance, you need to get it authenticated immediately. The story of this $26 million coin proves something that every treasure hunter, every collector, every person who's ever dreamed of finding hidden wealth already knows. Miracles happen, fortunes are found, and sometimes the most valuable things in the world are hiding in the most ordinary places, disguised as everyday objects that most people would overlook or ignore. And that's the beauty of coin collecting. That's the thrill that keeps millions of people searching, because you never know when your luck might change, when you might reach into your pocket or your coin jar and pull out something that changes your life forever. This 1987 Lincoln penny, valued at $26 million, represents the ultimate dream, the jackpot, the treasure at the end of the rainbow. And while the odds of finding another one exactly like it are astronomically low, the fact that it exists at all, the fact that it made it through production, through quality control, into circulation, and eventually into the hands of the person who sold it for $26 million, proves that impossible things are possible, that fairy tales sometimes come true, and that the next coin you pick up could be worth more than you ever imagined. So keep searching, keep checking those dates and mint marks, keep weighing and measuring and examining every coin that crosses your path, because somewhere out there, in someone's collection or pocket or forgotten jar, there might be another treasure waiting to be discovered, another story waiting to be told, another life waiting to be changed by the incredible, unbelievable, mind-blowing world of rare coins. And who knows? Maybe that next discovery will be yours.